Questions 1 through 10 on the 2005 Grade 10 AMC 10B. A scout troop buys 100 candy bars at a price of 5 for $2. They sell all the candy bars at a price of 2 for $1. What is their profit in dollars? 5 for $2 is what they buy them for. So that basically means that each is being bought for 2 divided by 5, which is 0.40. So 40 cents that they're buying them for. And then they're selling, so here's buy, and then they're selling for 2 for $1. So that means each is going to be sold for 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5, so 50 cents. So you buy for 40, sell for 50. The profit, of course, is 10 cents on each. And there's 1,000 of those candy bars. So 1,000 times 10 cents is $100, the profit in total. So number 1, the answer is A. A positive number x has the property that x% of x is 4. What is x? So the mathematical equation would be x divided by 100, this is the percentage, times our original number, which is x. And that, they're saying, is equal to 4. So this is the setup for the question. Now we just have to solve. This becomes x squared over 100 is equal to 4. And therefore x squared is equal to 400. Take the square root and we get x is equal to 20. So number 2, the answer is D. A gallon of paint is used to paint a room. 1/3 of the paint is used on first day. Second day, 1/3 of the remaining paint is used. What fraction of the original amount of paint is available to use on the third day? Day 1, we have 1/3 of the paint that is being used. So if the paint is represented by x, we are going to use x divided by 3 on day 1. And then now we move to day 2. The remaining paint, well, x divided by 3 was how much we used on day 1, so the remaining paint is 2x divided by 3. And we are going to use 1/3 of the remaining paint, so 1/3 of that. And if you do that, you get 2x over 9. That's what you're using on day 2. Now day 3 is what is remaining. So initially, of course, we had the full amount, which is x. We've already used x over 3 for day 1, and we used 2x over 9 for day 2. And then now we do the math. Let's see here, common denominator will be 9, so we get 9x minus 3x minus 2x all over 9. And that looks like 9 minus 5, which is 4x over 9. And that is how much you will use on day 3. So number 3, the answer is 4/9 of the original amount. So the answer is D. For real numbers A and B, A diamond B is defined as a squared plus b squared, all under the square root sign. What is the value of this expression right here? All right, let's take it one step at a time. Let's just do that one first. So we've got 5 diamond 12. Based on this definition, that looks like 5 squared plus 12 squared, all under the square root sign. So that's 25 plus 144, square root, and looks like square root of 169, I believe, and that is 13. All right, so that takes care of the first one. Let's do this one next over here on the side. And looks like negative 12 star, or diamond rather, whatever that symbol is. And let's see here, under the definition it'll be negative 12 squared plus negative 5 squared. And that looks like 144 plus 25. And that's 169. And that is again 13. All right, so now this basically becomes 13 diamond 13. And that is 13 squared plus 13 squared, all under the square root sign. 169 plus 169, square root. And that looks like, well, obviously 169 times 2. So I'll just put it like that. And then if you take the square root, you'll get 13 for this guy, but then you'll just have a root 2. And that's it. So number 4, the answer is D. Brianna is using part of the money she earned on her weekend job to buy several equally priced CDs, compact discs. She used 1/5 of her money to buy 1/3 of the CDs. What fraction of her money will she have left over after she buys all the CDs? So 1/5 of the money was used to buy 1/3 of the CDs. So that means that the other 1/3 of the CDs, if this is CDs, the other 1/3 will also require 1/5, and the final 1/3 will also require 1/5 of her money. So if you add this all up, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, that's 1, which represents all the CDs. And then if you add up this column, this is the money column, money column. So that would be 3/5 of all of her money. So she will spend essentially 3/5 of all of her money to buy all the CDs. Now what's left over? Well, 1 minus 3/5 is what's left over, and that's 2/5 of her money is remaining after she purchases the CDs. So therefore, number 5, the answer is C. At the beginning of the school year, Lisa's goal was to earn an A on at least 80% of her 50 quizzes for the year. She earned an A on 22 of the first 30 quizzes. If she is to achieve her goal, on at most how many of the remaining quizzes can she earn a grade lower than A? So 50 quizzes, and she wants an A on 80% of them, right? So 0.8 times 50, and that's 40. So she's got to get an A on 40 of the quizzes. That's basically the goal that's been set. Now, in the first 30 quizzes, she gets 22 out of 30, matching her goal. And they basically tell you that in the question. So how far is she from her goal? Well, she's 18 away. So she's got to get at least 18 out of the remaining. How many are there remaining? Well, there was 30, total is 50, out of the remaining 20 to meet her goal, basically. So that means the most she can get wrong in terms of less than an A is 2, right? 20 minus 18. And I think that's it. So not much really other than just kind of looking at the question stem and working with the numbers they give you. So 6, the answer is B. A circle is inscribed in a square, then a square is inscribed in the circle, and finally a circle is inscribed in this square. What is the ratio of the area of the smaller circle to the area of the larger square? First, let's draw a diagram. So here is my diagram. Let's go back and see if I drew this properly. A circle is inscribed in a square. So that circle is represented with a green. Then a square is inscribed in this circle. That square is represented by the orange. And finally, a circle is inscribed in this square. So that circle is represented by the red. What is the ratio of the area of the smaller circle, so the red circle, to the larger square? Okay, so that's the black square. So that is what I have to figure out. Okay, let's move forward. So the red circle obviously is going to be pi r squared, the area, and the black square, we are going to obviously take the side and multiply it by itself. So something squared. I don't know what it is, but side squared. We all know that. Figure out the area of a square. All right, where do I first start with this? Let's first draw the center of this shape and a line all the way to the end like that. And of course another line from that center all the way to the top. Now those, I hope you agree, represent the radius of the green circle, correct? And they also represent the side of the square. The side of the square essentially will be 2r. So this will be pi small r squared over 2r all squared, right? So I hope you're in agreement there. And then what I'm going to do is draw a line from the center all the way to the corner like that. And that full distance, we are not sure what it is. But I want you to concentrate on this triangle. I'll shade it here, this triangle right here. Okay? That triangle is what I want you to concentrate on. And I'll label some of those. From here to here is small r, the radius of the small circle. And from here to here is also the radius of the small circle, right? Just from there to there. From there all the way to the end is big R. And therefore from there to there is also small r. And then from the center to that point is big R. All right? So this triangle will help us greatly with regard to figuring out a relationship between small r and big R. And of course, since this is a right angle, we can use Pythagoras. And using Pythagoras, we get r squared plus r squared is equal to big R squared. And therefore 2 small r squared is equal to r squared, like that. Okay? Now moving back to our actual ratio, and you can do this any way you would like, but I'll just simplify the bottom and get 4 big R squared. And then pi r squared, big R squared is 2 small r squared, like that. So this becomes pi small r squared over 8 small r squared. The r squareds cancel and you just get left with pi over 8. And there you go. Number 7 in this very cool question is B. An 8-foot by 10-foot floor is tiled with square tiles of size 1 foot by 1 foot. Each tile has a pattern consisting of 4 white quarter circles of radius 1/2 foot, centered at each corner of the tile. The remaining portion of the tile is shaded. How many square feet of the floor are shaded? So here's our diagram blown up a little bit. Now each of these, of course, as you can clearly see, is a quarter circle, right? And they tell you that each of these tiles is 1 by 1. So that means that from here to here is a half. So they're all quarter circles of a radius 1/2. Now how many do we have? We've got an 8-foot by 10-foot floor. So 8 by 10 is 80. So since each of these tiles is 1 by 1, there's going to be 80 tiles. All right? And then each of these shapes, the shaded region will be the area of the square, which is basically 1 squared since the side length is 1. So 1 times 1 minus 4 times these quarter circles. So pi r squared over 4. And there's 4 of them, that's why I'm multiplying it by 4. So this is just 1 minus pi r squared. And r is 1/2, the radius of each of those quarter circles. So this becomes 1 minus pi over 4. All right? So therefore, since there's 80 of them, the total shaded area will be 80 times that. So 80 times 1 minus pi over 4, and that's 80 minus 20 pi. And that's it. So number 8, the answer is A. One fair die has faces 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and another has faces 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. The dice are rolled and the numbers on the top faces are added. What is the probability that the sum will be odd? So it's a probability question. So first and foremost, we have to figure out the denominator, and that's the total number of cases. When you flip a die, you have 6 possible choices of what will show up on the top face. And then you're going to flip another one or roll another one. So another 6 possible choices. So you multiply them. So that's 36. So the denominator will be 36 in this question. Numerator is what we have to figure out. That's what is being discussed in the question. And in our case, that is the sum is odd. All right. What I like to do is just in a very complete way explain the question instead of in an abstract way, because the abstract way will not make sense to a lot of people. So when I roll the dice the first time, right, I've got these possible choices. So my first will be either a 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, or 3, any of those 6. So let's say I roll and it's a 1, right? For each of those, I've got 6 possible outcomes for the second dice. So it could be 4. I could roll a 1 and a 4, a 1 and a 5, a 1 and a 5, 1 and a 6, and a 1 and a 6. Okay? And now the sum, which is what we're interested in this case is 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, and 7. Now, how many of these are odd? Well, this is odd, this one, and this one. So you see how you're able to figure out which is odd and which is even? So that's what we're going to do. And the good news is you can do this very quickly just by writing them all out. So I'll write them all out and I'll come back. So here are all the combinations, and in a very similar way, I will write out all the sums. And there you go. Now it's just a question of counting. So I already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm counting the odd ones, remember? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there you go. 20 is how many will have an odd sum. So 20 over 36 is my probability. If you reduce that to lowest terms, 10 over 18, which is 5 over 9. And then for number 9, the answer is D. In triangle ABC, we have AC equal to BC equal to 7 and AB is 2. Suppose that D is a midpoint on line AB such that B lies between A and D and CD is 8. What is BD? Let's first look at a diagram. This is A, this is B, and this is C. And I've extended AB to point D. And now let's draw a line connecting D to C, like that. Now let's fill in what we know in the question. They tell us that AC is equal to 7 and BC is equal to 7 and AB is 2 and D is a point on line AB such that B lies between A and D. All right, that's satisfied. And CD is equal to 8. And then they want us to figure out BD. Okay. Well, how do we approach this? Well, one thing I noticed immediately is that ABC is isosceles, right? Because both of these are 7. So what I'm going to do is draw a line that's from C all the way down to AB such that it's perpendicular. And if it is indeed perpendicular and this is isosceles, that means this and this will be the same. Because in isosceles triangles, if you draw a perpendicular like that, it chops the base into half. And if that is indeed the case, that means this is 1 and this is 1. And this point here, should I introduce another variable? Sure, I'll call it, I don't know, E. Right? So now this becomes a pretty easy to solve question using Pythagoras, but it's a two-part Pythagoras. First I have to figure out EC, and I can do that. And once I do that, then I can figure out BD. So first, let's figure out EC using this triangle right here. It'll be 1 squared plus EC squared is equal to 7 squared. Correct? So that means EC squared is equal to 49 minus 1, which is 48. And I think that is good enough for now. Now let's concentrate on this triangle right here, the bigger one. And that one will have EB plus BD all squared plus EC squared is equal to DC squared. Correct? Well, EB we know is 1. BD is what we're trying to figure out. So that is going to be like that. And then plus EC we already figured out was 48, EC squared. And then DC squared is 8 squared, which is 64. So we got 1 plus BD all squared. 64 minus 48 is 16. And then if you take the square root, you'll get 1 plus BD is equal to 4. And therefore BD is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. So number 10, the answer is A.